Welcome back to For the Love of Men. We are your hosts. My name is Brianna Mosier, and I am here with my good friend, Courtney Shand. And the intention of this show is to bring together men and women in harmony and honor each other's energetic masculine and feminine cores to create healthy, thriving, functional, polarized relationships. And polarized means chemistry, sexy, the juiciness. We're so excited because this is our first episode that we've done since our TikToks have taken off. Court and I put out a couple TikToks that are at, tonight one of them passed 100,000 views. And we're getting so much feedback in the comments, which we love, and a lot of men who are sharing that they're so happy we're doing this work. So if you're new to our show and you came from TikTok, thank you. We love you. Yes, we're so happy that you're here. And you might not know this because you haven't listened to all the shows, but we love your personal messages where you have questions. So if you've got situations going on with women or men in your world that you want our eyes and our hearts on, let us know and we'll do anonymous listener questions. So the TikTok that took off the most was around men offering things and women not receiving it, be it a compliment, taking them out to dinner, offering to do things for them, whatever it might be, and women not receiving it, and men experience rejection when that happens. What was mind-blowing to me, Court, was how much rejection they experienced, because that was not my intention when I was going through a phase in my life where I wasn't actually receiving from men. I was blocking it. I had a completely different mindset. And if I had known men were internalizing it as rejection, I would have behaved differently so much sooner. It really blew my mind. Hundreds of men, like, yes, this is exactly what ended my marriage. She wasn't receiving anything. It was like a brick wall every time I tried to give. And I was like, my God, this is a painful experience for men.
Yeah.
So we want to explain to all the men and kind of enlighten them on the feminine perspective, because the large majority of women are not intending to reject you. Good-hearted women. They are just having their own blocks with receiving that you probably don't know as men because you haven't had the same conditioning or this, the same, you're just not the feminine pole.
Yeah.
So you haven't had that experience. So we're going to shed some light on that. Before we do, Courtney, tell the people who you are, what your magic is in the world.
Yeah.
Tell them.
My name's Courtney Shand. I am a relationship mentor. I really specialize in helping women open their hearts in a more empowered way by helping their masculine energy support them. So kind of flipping the paradigm that they've grown up in, which does allow them to show up more authentically and more confidently in the dating pool. And that is going to make them naturally more attractive to empowered partners. I love what I do. And yeah, so fun.
Okay.
Bree. Over to you.
Yeah, I work with mostly female entrepreneurs, helping them scale their soul-led businesses and attract in empowered masculine partners, mostly through accessing their feminine. So Court and I do similar work. We have different modalities and flavors. I do a lot of work around pleasure, orgasmic manifestation, helping women get back in the body, which I know, Court, you do as well. But this is our work in the world, creating functional relationships with everything in your life: money, business, men, women, family, all these things. Food, yes. Courtney, low-key, she downplays this. She's a dietitian. Incredibly smart.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, we are helping these men if their woman is struggling to receive. Let's talk about maybe what that was like for you, if you're willing to share.
Yeah.
When men were trying to give to you and you were in a stage of not receiving, what was that like? What was the script in your head?
Ooh, thanks for setting it up that way.
Yeah.
This is gonna feel raw.
It's a layup.
Yep.
Sports reference number 1. Very sporty.
Yeah, so when I was back before I started working on all of this, I was a ball buster and I was proud of it. I was a feminist and I was going to have it be known.
I think you are a feminist still.
I am a feminist.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. I was really adamantly wanting it to be known.
Sure.
There's a thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
It was more of a I don't need a man energy
like
that I'm
hyper.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, that I'm like, I will never need a man because I'm going to be the one that makes it big and pays my own bills, and he will be lucky to have me. If that happens. It was, I mean, like night and day from where I am now. And I can say that in that time, I was not, it wasn't that I was like I was a little rough with men, and I'm sorry to say that, but I will say that it was more of a proving of myself what I'm capable of that I was after. That I was going to be seen as equally competent and equally capable and equally smart and equally qualified. And it was like this like aggressive, like,
I don't need you.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, very much. So when people would try to give to me, it would be met with, but I don't need it. Or, but I can do it. Are you telling me that I am not capable? Are you telling me that I'm not intelligent? Are you saying that I am not good at this? That was all those things that I was hustling for are the filters I was using that were being triggered when people would try to offer me things. So yeah, that was kind of the script that was playing in my head was that I've got it. Or that if I were to receive that from you, either it would reflect badly on me or it would be taking from someone who really does need it. Someone who's not quite as capable or smart or intelligent. And this sounds really arrogant to say, but this was 100% where I was of, it felt like, I would definitely be taking from someone who needed the support more.
Interesting. Yeah. So it had nothing to do with that you didn't want what he was offering. It had nothing to do with you wanting to reject him. It was truly, you were like, I'm taking from someone who could use this. And it sounds like there was a level of proving. Yeah. Like proving that you could do it on your own, that you didn't need anything from anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I don't even think that I was registering that someone was trying to give to me. Like when we were reading the comments, my heart was just like, oh,
sunk.
I've been there. I've been on both sides of this because I like seeing it from this side. I'm like, wow. But reading these comments, I was thinking, I didn't know. Like it was not even in my awareness that someone was trying to give to me. So as men reading that they were feeling like deeply rejected, I was thinking, I didn't even notice that you were trying to give me anything.
Yeah.
It's like just like blinders on, walking through life, and people are, now that I see it, and this is what I do with my clients, is like just pay attention to how often people are trying to give you something. And as soon as we turn the lights on, they're like, oh my gosh, 3 people randomly told me I was pretty this week. I was like, they've probably been trying to tell you the whole time. You just had no like visible awareness. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. It legitimately is like when we're in go mode, our like blinders go on and we're like hustle.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important about balancing that masculine and feminine energy, is feminine energy allows us to open our eyes to see a bigger perspective of things, which comes with being available to see the smiles that are coming towards me, see the waves that are coming towards me, see the people trying to hold the door open as a kind gesture.
The compliments he's giving you.
The compliments.
Yeah, the ways he's trying to help you take things off your plate.
Yes.
He's not taking it off your plate because you can't do it. It's because he wants to give it to you, but you internalized, oh, you think I can't do it.
Yep, exactly.
Got it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost like there was like a level of like, if you weren't trying to, if you were asking me like on a date, that would probably register. But all these little things to like get there, you can imagine that getting there was like rare. But all these little ways that men, that we flirt, that we like exchange energy that I was completely oblivious to. And looking back, I'm like, who knows how many times that happened until I finally learned. And then it was like, wow, it happens so often. I can only imagine. Ooh.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah. What was your experience like before this work?
Before learning to receive?
Yeah.
When I tell you I was mind blown that men offer things because they want you to have them, I can't understate it. And it put me in a completely different paradigm, because I think this is what a lot of the men in the TikTok video were commenting that they weren't getting. So I hope this is helpful, hearing our female perspective. for women, receiving feels vulnerable. I know that the feminine is supposed to be the innate receiver. And my experience working with hundreds of women in programs, privately and in groups and all the things, is this is one of our deepest wounds, is we don't feel worthy of receiving. We feel like we're taking from you. We feel like we're being a burden. We feel like we're being too much. And I know, men, you're giving these things and going, I want you to have this from clean energy. The reason there's a disconnect is because, again, this is wounded, but often women give and they don't mean it. And we overextend ourselves to earn love. And so we kind of can at times displace that mindset onto you. And we think that you might be offering something that you don't really mean because you feel obligated, or because you're trying to, because you're pitying us, or you're trying, I don't know. We just make up so much shit.
Or you want something in exchange. Like if you're giving me this, then it means that you want sex. That is I hear that so often, and I'm like, there's like 1,000 steps between flirting and him asking you for sex.
Exactly. Yeah. So things get really wonky. And we should clarify the point stuff too while we're on, because this would be helpful. But ultimately for me, the script is like, here's the part that I think would really clear things up. For me, I felt like I was giving back to you if I didn't take what you were offering. You internalized it as men. Men internalize it as she's giving it back, she doesn't want it. And I thought, I'm giving back to you. I'm not burdening you with having to take care of me, compliment me, do things for me. I'm less of a burden. I'm more chill. I'm being generous. You don't have to do any of this for me. And what I didn't know at the time, and I feel sad about this before I started this work, is that no, that was internalized, and it feels like rejection to men. Mm-hmm. And I wish I knew that sooner. I also would go so far as to hypothesize that women listening to this episode, the greater majority of them did not understand, or do not understand until now, that men offer and they mean it. I think this is a pervasive feminine wound, that we try to be as minimal of a burden to you as possible. Obviously, there are some women who take, and I know, we've had men have probably had those experiences too. But women carry a lot of this. We are taught to be as small as possible often as women. Don't take up space. Don't speak too loudly. Don't be too much. Don't take too much. Don't take up too much space. And we're still doing a lot of healing around learning how to speak up and take up space and receive things and be adored and be cherished by men that want to love us. So this is deep feminine wounding. It's not necessarily yours to hold. A lot of this is her work to clean up. And if you're wanting to be generous and help us open to receive more, Court and I have a few pretty good tips for you. Do you want to start in on what you think is best?
Well, before we do that, I just want to add on to that it may not also make sense, because the conversations that are often had are around like self-esteem. Like a woman just needs to boost her self-esteem.
Or to feel worthy of receiving
She has low self-worth. But what really clicked for me was to learn about the biological mechanisms at play with this. This is like generationally inherited, like back in caveman days. Like we knew that we were the more vulnerable of the two. Like hunter-gatherer. We were the ones that were going to be more vulnerable. And therefore we had this kind of like working system where we were dependent on you to bring back the higher calorie objects. So that being said, if we were to be prioritized, like the ones who are bringing the most calories home are the ones who need the most calories to expend. So like for us to eat, this is kind of getting a little squirrely, but for us in our minds, we are actually reacting from this like deeply biological thing that if we take less from you, it's to your gain.
And we stay safe.
And we stay safe for that reason. So it feels logical to us, even though from the outside, men are like, is it a self-esteem thing? Is it a self-worth thing? It's a safety thing. It's a deeply rooted biological like safety feeling for us to try in our mind to take care of you back. And a lot of times that plays out as us not receiving, because we think, again, that we're being generous by not taking from your stores. We're letting you keep your stores for you to use. And that feels generous to us because that's what would feel generous for us.
Yeah. That's what we would do woman to woman.
Yeah.
We don't understand the context of when a man offers, he means it.
Yeah.
Truly, I did not get this for the majority of my life.
I mean, until the last 2 years.
Yeah, for real.
Really. I may have heard it, but the last 2 years have been revolutionary for me to really sink into it myself and then observe it and have that be proven over and over again. The more that I saw it, the more I trusted it. The more I trusted it, the more I saw it. And it was this positive cycle that was reframing deeply in my whole nervous system that this is what's reality. Before, it was not even in my awareness, much less a reality.
Yeah, and you just see through that vision before you shift into a different paradigm. It's true. And if we have any women listening to this episode, things really shift when you start looking for all the ways that men try to give to you. It can be overwhelming. And it truly, men are, I just believe in my heart that most men are good and generous and kind and loving. And they just want to get it right.
Yep.
And before we jump into ways to help her, let's clarify the points conversation. Because we made this TikTok, and you guys can go watch it if you haven't already, where I was sharing that men kind of operate on this point system where they want to win with you. And if they're not winning points with you, then I think I said the game isn't fun anymore. They don't want to play. They don't know how to make this woman happy. So they feel like they want to opt out because they don't know how to please you. Points is not meant to be literal. And we certainly don't advocate for game playing. Those of you who've listened to the show, you know this. Courtney and I are the opposite of game players. We're get out of that mindset. That is toxic. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get out of that. What we mean by points is men want to win points with women. They want to be received. You don't want to have your compliments rejected. You don't want to have your gifts rejected. You don't want your offerings rejected. You want to be received because you mean it. And so when we say point, we mean her receiving you, her taking in what you're giving her, acknowledging it and appreciating it. That's all. So we understand that it can be frustrating to men when they're trying to give, and it's he keeps shooting and it keeps getting knocked off the rim because she keeps deflating them. You want to give me a compliment? Nope. You want to give me a gift? Psych. It's just well, this isn't very fun. We don't mean literally that love is a game. Far from it. We just mean you want to be received. You want to know that your effort is being appreciated and acknowledged and received by her.
Yeah. And not from a place of needing validation either. That was another really interesting comment. It's at some point we just want to exchange energy for the sake of play. Games are very different, but it doesn't mean that it can't be fun to play. We want to play together. That's what flirting is. That's what builds the tension. That's what's what makes it really fun and juicy and exciting is this playfulness that we get to embody when we feel safe enough and when we're being acknowledged. We feel safe on both sides when both of us are able to win. And what we're advocating for is that when women receive, men get to win. You get to experience the fun part of giving.
Yeah.
And that's what we would really hope for.
And the flow stays alive, and then I think we'll need a whole new podcast episode on how women also give, because there was a little bit of feedback around well, how do women give? And
what does that look like?
And I think that's a different conversation. Okay, so how can we help this woman to open to receive more? I hope this context so far is helpful for you to get an idea of why she struggles to receive. And how can you help her? I think for me, the biggest shift is verbal affirmation. And this is a generosity of yours, men, because again, this is our work to learn how to open up to receive. And for you to say, for instance, a lot of this happens in the bedroom with women. We feel like we're burdening you. Particularly the orgasm gap is potent here, right? Women are like crock pots, men are like skillets. Women take, I think it's up to 40 minutes to reach full turn on versus men at 7, did we find?
Yeah,
something like that. Don't come for us on the exactness of this. But it's a big gap of time between when a woman's ready and when a man's ready. So a woman can feel like that's a burden to a man. And that can make us feel like we're taking from you. You're getting tired. You don't want to be there. Any of those things. The magic words to clean it up in that situation in particular is, I could be here all night. Take all the time you need. I think we put this in our phrases Women Crave to Hear episode. Because that's softening us, right? you can use the same thing, the same phrasing when you're offering to help her clean the house. It's like, you could even say to her, I know this might be pushing your limit to receive, but I want you to know that this is my way of showing love, and I would really love to do this for you. Right? Like that would, or you could even say, you're not taking from me. I'm offering this because I mean it, and it would really bring me a lot of joy to take care of this for you. That would soften me. Because what I don't want to do as an empowered feminine woman is crush you. I don't want to make you feel emasculated. I don't want to reject you. If this is a woman that's loving on you, she's probably just missing this context. So you're closing the gap by letting her know, I want you to have this. It would make me so happy for you to have this. And just acknowledge, I know this might be stretching your capacity to receive right now. And it is bringing me so much joy to see you so happy. Like, the best thing you can do is just show me how happy you are that this is being done. Right? What else would you say?
Oh, I love those.
It?
No, I love that. I think that I'm trying to remember times that my boyfriend has done this for me really well. I think honestly just saying, I want you to have this.
Yeah.
Simple. Like simple man language, like just straight to the point. I want you to have this. Okay. Registered. I will take it. Thank you so much. I do think that what really has made it easier for me to receive, early in our relationship, he would say, I really want to do this for you. And I was working on, okay, I'm just going to let you. I would love to just practice receiving this. And the more that I was able to give him feedback, that was also really powerful, was being able to give him feedback of where the mark was. He took it really graciously, and it really let me know that this is a safe person for me to share more with. So the more that he was able to receive feedback from me, the more that he was able to hit the mark, and the safer that I felt in receiving, because I knew that I was still the one that was not calling the shots, but that I still had some say in it. Yeah. It wasn't like forcing me to be vulnerable. It was like, I get to get my needs met, and it feels really good to you. So it was this like even exchange of, it's not like it's being put on me. Is that making sense?
It was a flow.
It was just working. Yeah, it was working. The more that he was giving, the more I was practicing receiving. And in return, I felt much safer asking for what I needed from him. Yeah. And the more that got started, that was where it was like this really great give and take, where my needs are getting met, your needs are getting met, we're both having fun with it. And it's like, ooh, what else can I do? Ooh, she'd probably like this too. Ooh, I bet he would like this too. And it was just like kind of this fun exchange at that point.
Yeah, because you're both receiving each other, and we like it when you receive our gifts too.
Yeah.
We're also thinking about how we can make you happy.
Yeah.
As good-hearted women.
Yeah.
One more thing that's coming to me around why women might struggle to receive is if she's been in dynamics with partners who are manipulative and give to her only to hold it over her head.
100%. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and I think I've shared on this show before, and I was in a narcissistically abusive relationship for 2 years, and so that was a big cleanup for me, because anything that person did for me was used against me. Well, I do this for you, well, I do that for you. And it wasn't even big things. It would be like, well, I took you out to the grocery store. We spent time at the grocery store together. Like, that should be enough. Like, now you do things for me. I'm making up that example, which did not literally happen, but it would be bare minimum things that would get held against me. So then I felt hesitancy of like, oh, he wants to take me out to dinner or like spend a lot of time on me in the bedroom. What's he going to expect to get back from me? Am I capable of giving that? It wasn't clean energy because it was an unhealthy dynamic. We know that the men listening to the show, most of you are healthy, good-hearted men. You're empowered, masculine men. But if she's had experience with wounded masculine, or even wounded masculine mothers who, if she's had a wounded masculine mother who can kind of like give and then hold it as a burden, and well, I did X, Y, Z, and so you should be grateful and you should do this. It creates this dysfunctional relationship with receiving within her. Again, this is not yours to hold or clean up or carry. It's just to give you context on her particular wounds that might be different than yours and how to learn to love her better. That's all. And then your generosity is in soothing that receiving wound with, I want you to have this. I could be here all night. Your pleasure turns me on. Giving to you makes me so happy. I love seeing how happy you are when I give you things. All these phrases create so much like healing, 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 healing of the receiving wound.
100%. Oh, this is giving me, my full body is like chills.
So good.
I love that. And I love that you said that a lot of times this can happen from former dynamics. And it isn't yours to hold. It's a generosity. We're trying to share with you some context so that you can be generous if you choose to. And a lot of the men that listen to us are very generous, but these would be specific ways you can be supportive and generous. So
Yeah, with her receiving.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. Another thing is really just kind of verbalizing again that you are here to help us with that. Like that you want for us to receive it, that you want for us to enjoy it. I just did this so that you would have a lighter plate today, that your, life would be easier. That's another one that my partner always says. I just wanted your life to be easier today. What can I do to make your life easier today? And that registers to me because for a lot of women, we have lots of things on our plate, as do men.
Yeah. Sure.
We know you're busy, but when you take something off of our plate, we hear it. And that little way of receiving, if women can register that and open up to it and just let that in, can go a long way. But it has to be communicated is what I'm saying. It has to come out of our mouth or out of your mouth for us to hear it so that it registers for us. We may energetically sense that you're doing that, but if you're wanting for us to connect the dots, you probably have to say, hey, I want for you to receive this. Hey, I want you to have this. Hey, I wanted to do this for you. Otherwise, you're just going to keep hitting your head on the wall, and she's not going to register. It's just going to be like, well, of course, thank you. It's kind of implied gratitude instead of a received, like, wow, thank you. There's a very different energy with that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And you can always send her our episode on opening up to receive powerfully from the masculine. Yeah, that would clean it up too.
I think so. Yeah. I really just want to reiterate that I do think a lot of women have some awareness that we can gain in this area. And share that to say that patience is warranted, because a lot of times it's not intentional. It really is just a lack of awareness, and it can cause a lot of pain. So I don't want to neglect the results of that, but I find that a lot of women, when we do introduce this in our teaching and in just concepts, it's the first time that they've heard it, and it kind of impacts them. It takes them a while to digest it, because a lot of times
breath away, truly.
It really does like knock them out, and then they see it everywhere. When I read this for the first time, I literally cried and thought, oh my gosh. So,
and then how powerfully your relationship changed, my relationship changed, when I let it be the continuous flow instead of my wounded stuff that I wasn't aware of continually blocking me from receiving, because I kept thinking, no, I'm being less of a burden to him. And he was internalizing, I'm being rejected. These are some of the disconnects. Is why we do the show, is really to help you honor each other's masculine, feminine, energetic cores, because we have different wounds. And we just want y'all to be able to love each other. Yeah.
We want you to win.
We want you to win with each other. So, anything you want to add, Courtney?
No, I feel really good about that.
Cool. Okay. What do we want to tell the people? Please share this episode.
Yes.
And if you could give it a 5-star review, that would be amazing. Well, I suppose any star that feels authentic to you. I don't mean to sway your review.
If you could review it.
If you could review the show. That's what I mean to say. But it is 5 stars. No, I'm just kidding. If you could review the show, that would be great. That helps us rank in the category, and then our show gets pushed out. So that is so generous. And if you will share the show, that would be amazing. Send it to men and women that you want to win with each other and just kind of heal the collective dysfunction in relationships that's going on. We appreciate that so much. Courtney, if the people want more from you, where can they find more Courtney?
Come find me. I am on Instagram. My name is Courtney_Shand. Facebook, Courtney Shand. And then my website is CourtneyShand.com. I have a couple really cool things going on right now in terms of, like she said, I'm a dietitian. I do a lot of work with women around what it looks like to connect back with their body in relationship to food. So healing body image issues, healing more intuitive eating patterns, and healing dysfunctional overeating and stress eating is really kind of my specialty there. And then I love helping women with learning how to receive from men, learning how to see men differently, learning how to show up differently, and really experience how men see them correctly and accurately. That's something, again, that was like mind-blowing to me. So I love teaching that to women. My program Arise is all about that, shifting how we experience men and how men experience us. Those are two of my favorite programs for women. And yeah. What about you, Bree? You've got some fun stuff going on right now too.
Good. What do I have going on? Well, depending on when this episode releases, you can always come in late, but I've got a program open right now called Inside Out, the art and science of healthy relationships and magnetizing the divine masculine. This is by far one of the favorite programs I've ever done from the alumni that come in, and it's been all women. So it's geared toward women on learning to be in their empowered feminine, learning how to recognize healthy versus wounded masculine, learning how to bring out their empowered feminine in relationships, set boundaries, heal people pleasing, heal watering themselves down, understanding how the masculine thinks, believes, behaves, and operates, which is different, clearly, than the feminine. And of course, I'm the manifestation queen, so we always talk about how to stay open to receiving your desires from the universe, which is also an empowered masculine energy. So that you can find on my website, and in the show notes would be the best, but it's on my website too, buildingbree.com. And then my Instagram at buildingbree, BRI. And if you're on the podcast and you're not following us on TikTok, For the Love of Men TikTok.
Over there.
For the Love of Men podcast is our handle.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. If you have questions, message us.
Send us a message.
Yeah.
I'm totally open to it. And I'm open to conversation. As long as the comments are constructive, I will get in there and have a conversation. You're welcome to have your own opinion. And I mean, we're just presenting what worked for us. So we'd love to hear feedback, neutral or good. Please keep it kind.
The petty stuff. Like, we're just like, why?
Please keep it kind. But yeah, please message us. Let us know if this is landing or if there's some things that need some clarification. We're happy to do that.
Yeah.
Or if you have some specific situations that you, again, want our heart and our eyes on, then we would be happy to have some anonymous questions asked as well.
So good.
Yeah.
We're so happy that you listened. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next week.